Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This was Cantua Creek Road Race on February 15th, men's Elite 4. Few teams out here, notably the guys on VeloTrap, a few guys on Alto Velo, and then it was kind of just a mixed bag of one or two riders from other different teams. About 21 in the field, I believe. The race pretty much turned out about how you would expect. There was about one breakaway that went away for maybe 10 minutes or so. Just two guys went up the road on that first lap, but that got closed down fairly quickly. So yeah, if you want to see what's going on, if you want to skip forward, at 8 minutes into the video, there was a funny little break where everyone wanted to just go ahead and take a little piss break. So I got a little bit of us just going 10 miles an hour, doing hardly any watts at all, just kind of sitting up because no one is incentivized to try to make anything happen on this course. You know, there's not a whole lot of features where you can really make a selection other than the start finish when you start a new lap. The first time we did that was pretty hard. I have the recording of the second time it went through the start finish going into the last lap at 8 minutes and 20 seconds. But yeah, go ahead and skip forward to whatever you want to. I'll pick up the commentary in the last 12 minutes of the video going into the finish. A few other moments I recorded. The last turnaround at the far end of the course. A little bit of shenanigans there if you want to see that. But otherwise, pretty relaxed race. So not much going on. I think that's just kind of part of how the 4 category is right now, with small teams. It's really hard to kind of control the race. But yeah, also the nature of the course. So can't say I was surprised. Last year I tried a lot more to break up the race, and it ended up costing me, finishing near the end of the pack. So fortunately, I did the exact opposite this year, and it paid off quite well. So, see you again at the finish. the world's fastest race right now.
The chase, I'm gonna let the chase group get them.
take my camera and record me. Yeah. I could, but
Currently on there.
I could just, no, I could.
I'm not trying to drop your shit.
No, I was just joking, but yeah. This is a gentleman in purple here in Oklahoma. On your right.
You got it, man. You got bullets?
Ready?
Oh, check the telephone.
I'm cooked. You guys are way too strong. What the fuck? So a few guys kind of took it upon themselves on VeloTrap to kind of set the pace going into the final ramps up to the finish line. There were a few guys that were pretty happy to just work on the front all day, which I thought was kind of funny. But hey, I mean, it's early in the season, so you got to get your training in one way or another. So that's totally fine if that's what you want to do. Be my guest. Wouldn't advise it if you're trying to hunt points for upgrading, but this guy in green here on my left, everyone was pretty worried about last year because apparently he won Snelling, if I remember correctly. So there were a few guys. You kind of know who looks comfortable on the bike, who looks strong, so who to follow going into the finish. I spent the weekend sharing an Airbnb with 4 guys from VeloTrap Racing and a few other friends from Sacramento Golden Wheelmen in some other categories. So I knew who they were riding for. They were riding for William, who this was actually his first race. So shout out to William for how exceptionally well he did. There he is, just coming through in the screen in the purple kit. So Mike and Nolan were both going to wait until the start of the finish and try to smash it up the climb to make it as hard as possible for William. So you'll see that here in a bit, but we're staying towards the back here, just kind of fighting for position. I tried to follow Will as much as I could, just because I know he was a pretty strong rider. If the guys had a lot of faith in him on his first race, I would imagine. We didn't want to be super close to the front because it's a pretty draft-heavy climb. So it's not as much about watts per kilo as it is somewhat raw power when you're fighting the wind and your CDA and all of that stuff. But we're still a little bit of ways out, but always trying to conserve energy here. We got Howard here on the right, who said he's coming off some vacation here and he's gonna find his fitness racing. A lot of us, everyone that was in my group in the Airbnb stayed for both races, Pine Flat and Cantua Creek. So it was a pretty tough weekend doing both of those back to back. I still think it is better to have Cantua Creek on the first day, just because it's a little bit easier on the legs. I think if Cantua Creek was after Pine Flat, it would be pretty tough to convince people to do them in that order. Hope everyone likes the overlay. I realized it's helpful to have the distance traveled here in the upper left corner, so I had that in a couple of the other overlays, but I'm still learning, so please be patient. I'm trying to get better at editing all this footage. I've never done anything like this before. I literally just got the camera I'm using last December, so but I think it's fun to kind of have this, to be able to go back and see what happened, and share that with everyone. So still on the lead into the finish here, pretty flat still. It's crazy how much of the course you could be in different places 10 miles apart, and you probably wouldn't be able to tell any difference between the two, because everything kind of just looks the same on this course. Looks like the climb proper is about to start. Once you go over that last overpass, it's gonna start ramping up here. So we're already getting up to 400 watts a little bit. Heart rate looks pretty good though, only in the 140s. So I was coming off a pretty solid block of training. Swapped out my cranks to 165 millimeter, which is really helping my hips already. My hip has been hurting for this last year, and after a week of riding with the shorter cranks, I'm already not having any pain in my right hip. So opens up your hip angle, helps you be a little bit more aerodynamic, can help you spin more, so it saves your legs a little bit. So I really recommend it. There aren't too many disadvantages to it, and it shouldn't really decrease your power output. There's been plenty of studies that show that. Trying to stick to Will's wheel. Grateful the field's not too big. I think once hopefully we get up into the higher categories, it is going to be harder to move up through fields. When you have 40, 50 guys, you really need teammates to help place you. So looks like I'm closing a little bit of gap. It is a little bit deceiving how far away people look in this 360 view. This camera is so unique, editing all the footage, how you can switch between narrow, super wide, and then 360, which is kind of cool. So it's already starting to kick off here. I think Mike and Nolan are starting their lead out. The Alto Velo guys were in pretty good position too, up there towards the front, as we'll hear in the interview later after the finish. Jack was nice enough to give me a impromptu interview at the start of Pine Flat the day after this, which I thought would be a kind of a nice touch to interview the winner and see how that went down from his perspective. His teammate Will, who I met during this race, I was chatting with him a little bit, did a big lead out for him coming up here pretty soon. This race finish is actually pretty crazy fast, because you're smashing the uphills and then you get into these downhills and you're ripping. We averaged 25 miles an hour for the last 6 minutes of the race. So this was the guy from San Jose Bike Club, super big guy, so I was impressed how well he was climbing up these hills. Someone said he's comes from a swing background in college, so, which I myself also swam in college, so I'm not surprised that I've seen some guys this size that are just ridiculously strong, whether it's swimming or smashing pedals. I guess once you have that huge engine, you know, it can translate pretty much to anything endurance wise. This is where it got about the hardest of the finish. We hit 900 watts there. I'm really weird. I like to sprint seated almost. But yeah, we're just fighting to hold on here. Heart rate's getting up higher and higher as we get closer to the finish. We got the guy in baby blue here, Movello rider. He did a ton of work on the front, so I'm surprised how well he was able to do in the finish. If he had taken it a bit easier, I imagine he would have maybe even podiumed this race. But we're on his wheel. He's still holding on pretty well, so he had some great energy. He's giving off good vibes. And we're just sucking wheels until we get into this downhill. I think there's 4 separate kind of ups before the actual little last ramp up to the finish. So we're hurting. But these little downhills are nice. You know, you recover. And you see how if you're a little heavier, you can kind of just coast and move up wheels, which is the one benefit of being a little bit heavier. So it's getting bunched up a little bit, but that's not surprising. The Alto Velo guy snuck off the front here a little bit, and this junior's going to make his big attack to close those guys down. And now we're going to get right into this last little bit of the race. So I see Will is really starting to hurt. That gap is opening up, so I really need to close that down. And this guy was kind enough to do it for me, so we appreciate that. We'll take it when we can get it. Any help is appreciated. Once you lose the wheel, you're going so fast. I mean, that draft benefit is so important. You just go backwards in a hurry if you lose that wheel. So, and I think we're going into 200 meters to go here. Laying down the power. 500 watts pretty much this whole finish when we're going uphill on average. And this guy is probably smashing 600 watts. He looks like he's 90 kilos. Just an absolute beast, man. This guy's a tank. Alright, that was 200 to go. Last little kick up towards the finish. I'm hurting. We're in 5th position here, and that's kind of all she wrote. I get out of the saddle one last time. Get it up to 500 watts and some change. Take a quick peek back, make sure no one's behind me, and call it a day. The legs felt like lead, so I'll take 5th, get some more upgrade points, and I was pretty happy with that. So Jack and Will from Alto Velo ended up taking 1st and 3rd, respectively. Daniel, the guy from San Jose Bike Club, took 2nd. Zhejian from Moonshine Racing with the 4th, and I rounded out the podium for 5th. The guys from Alto Velo were nice enough to give me a little interview here, so they thought I was just playing, but then I showed them my camera.
What's up, buddy?
So how was that finish for you yesterday? Talk us through that final lead out.
We went just according to plan. Saved it all for the last 5 minutes. Couldn't have done it without teammate Will right here.
Okay.
Plan that we discussed far in advance.
Yeah.
We definitely had.
Were you guys right behind the Velo Trap guys when they were leading it out?
Yeah. So it was orange purple.
Okay.
So it was kind of staggered. Will took a hero pull. I was hitting max heart rate second wheel to Will. So couldn't have done it without this guy.
Yeah, definitely helps to have a teammate to lead it out.
How far? I don't even remember. How far before the line did you pull out?
Yeah, when did you get that gap on everyone else?
So Will pulled us to a gap, and I shouted, "Hey, we've got a gap!" And then he steps on the gas even further. And
There's that junior that tried to bridge up to you
there was
real
a
quick,
junior,
and then I
and
think he blew up.
As soon as that happened, then I ditched Will. I was like, "We gotta go."
Yeah.
And I was about to blow up too, and I was like kind of surprised the field didn't catch me.
Awesome. Well, congrats on the win. Are you how are you feeling for today?
I'm feeling like a good teammate.
Okay. Gonna lead out Will today. Got it. All right. Well, good luck.
Thanks, buddy.